Welcome back. With us live over the phone is Ambassador, His Excellency Ambassador Ayman Musharafa, former Assistant Foreign Minister. Good morning, Ambassador Ayman.
Good morning to you and good morning to the audience.
Our real pleasure, sir. So, as we have witnessed the latest visit by the U.S. President Donald Trump to the Gulf and taking him to Abu Dhabi, Emirates, and also Saudi Arabia and Qatar. So, how do you describe this lavish visit, especially that this is actually his second visit to the Gulf, but this is his first visit in his second term. Earlier, he made a visit to Saudi Arabia that he struck one of the biggest arms deal weapons with Saudi Arabia. Now, this time also, he also held a huge, bulky arms weapons deal with Saudi Arabia.
Well, I do feel that it's a landmark visit. It is maybe the second visit and the second tour in the Gulf after his first presidency. The first presidency witnessed a visit to Saudi Arabia, but this one was, I could call it a visit of records. He struck with Saudi Arabia the biggest arms deal, $142 billion, with Qatar a record sales to Boeing, $200 billion, with 160 new aircraft, which Boeing never witnessed in its history, and 148 new agreement and letter of intent and protocol with Saudi Arabia, which is amounting to $300 billion, and another mega pledge of investment where he concluded yesterday with Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed, $1.4 trillion payable over 10 years in the artificial intelligence and new sustainable development energy and new source of energy, which, I mean, I could call it a mega deal in everything. But I do think that the visit has several purposes. The first purpose is to acknowledge by the Gulf states and to reiterate by the American president that the United States presence in the Gulf, the United States have already 10 bases in the Gulf, in Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Al Udeid, in Qatar, Safra, in Abu Dhabi, and in Oman, and even the command of the Sixth Fleet is in Bahrain. So it reiterated the American presence in the Gulf, and the American as a sole, arm deal supplier for the Gulf states. And the second is a return to the Middle East. That means that in the beginning, some analysts got the impression that the Americans are not involved anymore or not interested anymore in the Middle East. But the Middle East is coming at the prime of interest for the American president. And he got deals too from Saudi Arabia. For instance, the shake hands and the American pledge to scrap the sanction on Syria. It was a mega political landmark in the Middle East. That's the first time that an American president since 25 years is shaking hands with a Syrian president. I do not call Syrian president an interim president, but it's a very important landmark that the Americans are here in the east part of the Arab world, Syria, as a big country. And at the same time, I think that the Americans too, with the tripartite help of Egypt and Qatar, will at the end of the day will strike a deal in Gaza, having maybe a ceasefire and an exchange of prisoners. So, I mean, the visit has several facets: a military facet, an investment facet, and a political one. And I think it is a successful visit in all means.
Right. Before we get into details of those bulky deals, I mean, this deal with Saudi Arabia of the arms that is 142 billion euro, and also that one, the Boeing also deal with Qatar. First of all, let us discuss the relationship, the bond between the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and in particular the US President Donald Trump. That was not the case with Joe Biden. When Joe Biden was in the office, he didn't have that type of relationship with the Saudi Kingdom. This is one thing. I mean, also those deals that, I mean, those deals, economic deals, let me call them economic. If we call them generally or describe them generally, it could be one of the biggest economic deals ever done by a US president. It could be described so. And also it was described the same thing at the first term of Donald Trump. So how do you describe the US-Saudi relationship and its impact over the deals that Donald Trump always strike whenever he set his feet in the Gulf region?
I'm not telling you that the relation between Saudi Arabia and the United States of America is 80 years old, since the first meeting of President Roosevelt with late King Abdulaziz in 1946. I mean, the Americans knew the strategic importance of Saudi Arabia geographically, and the biggest producer and the biggest exporter of oil in the world. So the relation is very old. Maybe under different administrations, the tactics and the priority were shifting a little bit. But at the same time, this strategic relation never waned. But during Donald Trump administration, the president knew the value, the growing value of oil in the world of industry, and the petrodollar surplus that he would attract to the United States as a direct investment in several domains, like real estate, like artificial intelligence, like energy. So he wants to be the sole, the Americans want to penetrate the Gulf market as an important player because they want to get, not to get rid, but to surplus China. China is an important trading partner in the Gulf. So they felt threatened during the past decades from the growing commercial and bond relation with China. So he wants to reiterate again this important and solid relation, which has a different facet. The American president is dealing with the Gulf states as an investor, as a prime investor who is looking for investment cooperation, and to have the American companies as the prime partner of the Gulf countries during the future decades.
Now, people who are observing, this visit in general, could come up with questions like, well, these are a very good arms deal, done by the U.S. and the Gulf states. It sounds good, but also at the same time, how is Qatar going to use those Boeing, jets, and how is Saudi Arabia going to use? Through what means? Why is that hefty size of arms deal with Saudi Arabia? Why is it going to use it? How is it going to use it? Do you understand?
We start beginning by Qatar having 160 jets. I could say it's not totally out of line, because Qatar Airways is considered one of the biggest airlines right now with the different hubs, and one of the best airlines several years in service and in quality. So they could enhance the transport network and the success of Qatar Airways. And at the end of the day, it's assets. You could rent your aircraft, you could use it in opening new lines. Concerning the arms deal, Saudi Arabia is a big country with different borders. So they want to assure the capability of the Saudi army to defend its border, and a part of the deal is a new concept. Most of those American weapons are going to be co-produced in Saudi Arabia. That means that Saudi Arabia will embark on a new era of producing weapons with 50%. That means 50% of this deal will be manufactured and assembled in Saudi Arabia. So I think
manufactured to be sold again?
No, usually arms deal has a strict deals. That means you could not sell it to a third partner without the consent of the first party who furnished those arms.
Yeah, the reason I asked you that question, because some political observers asked, will Saudi Arabia use those weapons one day fighting Israel to stand up for the rights of the genocidal war taken against the innocent Palestinians in Gaza, for example? Those were questions that were raised. If this is a very hefty, very expensive arms deal taken by Saudi Arabia, spending that type of money for arms deal, there must be a strong reason. There is no reason, of course, but these were questions raised.
This arms deal is exclusively for the help, for the defense of Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia never attacked Israel, or never embarked in a war against Israel.
Exactly.
I don't think so that, and as I told you before, any arm deal that any country is concluding, they are signing a third-party agreement that you could not transfer or sell weapons without the consent of the initial buyer. So, it is not, if you don't have money, you don't go shopping for arms without deals and without assurance. So, your question,
exactly.
the answer, Saudi Arabia have a policy.
Exactly, but that would take us to another question. Would that be the case with any other country who is purchasing arms deal from the United States?
Of course.
So what is the use then?
Usually the Gulf countries are acquiring arms for the self-defense.
Okay.
Do forget that still they have tensions with Iran, and they have other dangers coming from Yemen, for instance, from the Houthis and other potential threats. So anyway, it's a national decision. If Saudi Arabia decides to buy weapons with multi-billions, that's their national decision, their national assessment. We cannot interfere in this. But
of course, there is no interference. It's just questions that are raised.
The procurement of such mega arm deal is for the national defense.
National defense. On that note, of course, Your Excellency, Ambassador Ayman Musharafa, former Assistant Foreign Minister, would like to thank you, sir, for talking to us on the Breakfast Show. And you have a beautiful day. We're going to go to a short break, and we'll come to continue the show, so stay with us.